You're not running out of ideas. You're running out of time. Every day you wait, the clock is stealing from you, and one day it's going to take everything. The question is, how much more are you willing to give away before you finally fight for your life? Time is the one currency that never refunds you. Once it's spent, it's gone. People treat time like it's unlimited, like there's a secret bank account somewhere holding extra years just in case they waste the ones they've got. You don't realize how valuable it is until you start looking back and wishing you could get certain seasons of your life back. You can make a bad investment, lose thousands, and earn it back again. You can miss a job opportunity and get another chance somewhere else. But when a year passes, there is no earning it back. It's not coming around again. That's why wasting time is far more dangerous than losing money. You can hustle and get your money back, but no grind in the world can get you back your 20s, your 30s, or even the last month you let slip away. Most people don't think about it until it's too late. They live like they've got all the time in the world. But the truth is, every single day is a withdrawal from the account of your life, and you don't even know the balance. You don't know how much time you've got left. So why are you spending it like it's endless? The clock doesn't pause when you're tired. It doesn't slow down because you're afraid. It doesn't rewind because you made mistakes. It just keeps ticking, and every tick is a moment you can't get back. Some of you are wasting hours every day on things that bring zero return. You're giving your attention to drama, distractions, and cheap entertainment, thinking it's harmless, but you're trading the most valuable asset you have for nothing. And the scary part, you won't feel the loss right away. You'll feel it later when the opportunities you could have had are gone, when the relationships you could have built are broken, when the dream you could have reached is just a memory of what you almost did. That's when it hits you. All the time you thought you had was already slipping away, and you didn't even notice. Time doesn't care who you are, how much potential you have, or how much talent you were born with. It treats everyone the same. Rich or poor, young or old, disciplined or lazy, you all get 24 hours. And the difference between success and regret is how you choose to use them. You've been telling yourself for years that you're getting ready. You've been planning, researching, thinking, talking about what you're going to do. But while you've been preparing, the days have been flying by. The dream that was burning inside you 5 years ago is still sitting on the shelf because you keep saying, I'll start next week, or I'll start when things settle down. The problem is life never really settles down. There will always be bills, always be responsibilities, always be something that makes it inconvenient to start. If you're waiting for life to give you a green light, you're going to be stuck at that red light for years, watching other people drive right past you. The truth is, thinking feels safe. It makes you feel like you're making progress without actually having to take the risk. You can sit in a room for months drawing up plans, reading books, watching videos, and convincing yourself you're moving forward. But none of that counts until you take action. You can't just think your way to a new life. You have to move. You have to get uncomfortable. You have to put yourself in situations where there's a chance of failure, because that's the only way you'll find success. And here's the dangerous part. The longer you delay, the harder it gets. Momentum works both ways. Just like action builds action, hesitation builds hesitation. Every year you keep telling yourself you'll start soon, your confidence fades a little more. Your dream starts to feel a little less possible. You start convincing yourself it wasn't meant for you in the first place. You start settling for a life you don't even want, all because you refuse to take the first step when you had the chance. There's always going to be a reason why you can't start right now. You can make excuses for the next 5 years if you want, but that clock is still running whether you move or not. The business you wanted to start, someone else will start it. The job you wanted to apply for, someone else will get it. The book you wanted to write, someone else will publish it. And you'll be left wondering what could have been if you had just stopped thinking about it and started doing it. Waiting for the perfect moment is one of the biggest lies you can tell yourself. You imagine a day when everything will line up, when you'll have the money, the time, the confidence, and the resources all at once. But that day never comes. Life doesn't hand you ideal conditions. It hands you opportunities hidden inside challenges. If you're sitting around waiting for everything to feel safe and easy, You'll be waiting for the rest of your life. The people who actually make moves, the ones who have it all figured out, they're the ones who start in the middle of the mess with the little they have and figure it out along the way. Fear and uncertainty don't go away before you start. In fact, they're usually strongest right before you take action. You think that once you're more prepared, you won't feel scared. But the truth is, preparation can only do so much. At some point, you have to step into the unknown. You have to accept that you might fail, that you might stumble, that you might have to start over. And that's okay, because every failure teaches you something that standing still never will. You can't learn to swim by reading about it. You have to get in the water, even if it's cold, even if it's uncomfortable. The perfect moment is a myth because life keeps moving. There will always be a bill to pay, a problem to solve, a reason to wait. If you're waiting for the conditions to be right, all you're doing is giving yourself permission to delay. You'll start convincing yourself that you're being smart, patient, but really you're just letting fear disguise itself as logic. And while you're hesitating, time is slipping away. Someone else out there with less talent and fewer resources is taking the shot you're too afraid to take. The truth is, you make the moment perfect by acting in it. It's not the circumstances that create success. It's your decision to move despite the circumstances. Every great story starts with someone who decided not to wait anymore. They didn't have all the answers. They didn't have a flawless plan, but they had the courage to start. That's the only difference between people who build the life they want and people who spend their whole lives talking about it. This is it. This is your one shot. Life is not a dress rehearsal where you can practice a few times, make mistakes, and then perform perfectly when it really matters. Every single day you wake up, you're on stage, and the decisions you make are part of the final performance. There's no restart button, no take two, no magical moment where you get to rewrite the years you've already lived. The moments you waste, the opportunities you ignore, the people you take for granted, once they're gone, they're gone. You don't get to rewind and fix them later. That's why you can't afford to treat your life like it's just a trial run. Too many people live like they've got a backup plan for time. They put off their dreams, thinking they can circle back to them later, not realizing that later isn't promised. Every day you spend waiting is a day you'll never see again. You might think you're safe because you're young or because you've got plenty of years ahead, but time moves faster than you think. One day you're looking ahead to the future, and the next day you're looking back, wondering where it all went. And in that moment, you realize you weren't really living. You were just existing, going through the motions, letting life pass you, but the danger is that the days don't feel urgent while you're living them. You think you've got endless tomorrows, so you waste today on distractions and comfort. You tell yourself you get serious when the time is right, but the right time never shows up. You tell yourself you'll take that risk when you're ready, but readiness is an illusion. Before you know it, you spent years practicing for a performance that already happened, and there's no way to go back and change the ending. You have to live like this is the only chance you get, because it is. Every choice you make is either moving you closer to the life you want or further away from it. Every opportunity you take or ignore is shaping the final story of your life. You can't keep telling yourself you'll start tomorrow, because one day tomorrow won't come. If you don't start living like it matters now, you'll reach the end wishing you had treated every moment like the real thing instead of a warm-up. Procrastination is a silent thief. It doesn't crash in like a storm. It creeps in quietly day after day, convincing you that you've got plenty of time. You tell yourself you'll start after lunch, after the weekend, after the holidays, after you feel more motivated. And before you know it, weeks turn into months, months turn into years, and the things you swore you were going to do are still sitting untouched. The danger is that procrastination doesn't just steal your time, it steals your future. Every delay pushes your dreams further out of reach until they start to feel like they were never possible in the first place. You might think you're just taking a break or waiting for the right move, but what's really happening is you're letting the most valuable moments of your life slip away without a fight. Opportunities don't wait around for you to be ready. That job opening, that business idea, that perfect chance to connect with someone who could change your life. Those things have expiration dates. While you're sitting around thinking about it, someone else is taking action. And by the time you decide to move, the door is already closed. Procrastination feels harmless in the moment because there's no immediate punishment. You don't feel the weight of it right away. It's not like losing money or getting injured. But over time, it builds up like a debt you can't pay back. The lost days pile up until you realize you've missed entire seasons of your life. You realize the reason you're still in the same place you were last year or 5 years ago isn't because the world held you back. It's because you kept postponing the work that would move you forward. And the worst part, the more you procrastinate, the more it becomes a habit. It gets easier to delay, easier to avoid, easier to lie to yourself that you'll get to it later. That's how entire decades disappear. That's how people wake up at 50 or 60 wondering where their life went and wishing they could go back. The truth is, every time you choose procrastination, you are choosing to sacrifice a piece of your potential. You're giving away your tomorrow just to stay comfortable today. And once it's gone, there's no getting it back. You don't need perfect conditions to start, and you don't need to have it all figured out. What you need is the courage to take a step right now. Even if you're scared, even if you're broke, even if you're exhausted. Too many people convince themselves that they'll move forward when they feel ready. But the truth is, readiness is a feeling that rarely comes before action. Most people who achieve something great began before they were fully prepared. They launched the business with limited funds. They applied for the job without every qualification. They stood on stage before they were confident. They moved and confidence followed. The idea that you have to wait until the fear is gone is one of the biggest lies holding you back. Fear is a constant companion whenever you're doing something that matters. It shows up not because you're weak, but because you're stepping into the unknown. The goal is not to eliminate fear. It's to act in spite of it. You don't conquer fear by waiting it out. You conquer it by proving to yourself through action that you can survive it. Every time you move forward while afraid, you teach yourself that fear isn't the enemy. Inaction is, and it's not just fear that holds you back. It's the belief that you need more resources, more time, more energy before you can begin. The truth is, starting with less forces you to be creative, to problem solve, to learn faster. Some of the greatest achievements came from people who began with almost nothing. They didn't see lack as a reason to wait. They saw it as a reason to work harder. If you're tired, work tired. If you're broke, work broke. If you're unsure, work unsure. Action has a way of creating clarity that waiting never will. The difference between people who get what they want and those who don't isn't that one group had everything lined up perfectly. It's that one group started when it was inconvenient, uncomfortable, and uncertain, while the other kept waiting for a perfect day that never came. Every single time you take a step forward in imperfect conditions, you're building momentum. And momentum is powerful. It can carry you further than any plan, any preparation, or any moment of perfect readiness ever could. One day, you're going to look back at the choices you made and the ones you didn't make. And in that moment, you're either going to feel a deep sense of pride or a heavy weight of regret. Pride comes from knowing you acted when it mattered, that you pushed past fear, doubt, and excuses to chase something that truly mattered to you. Regret comes from knowing you had the chance and you let it slip away. The pain of regret lasts far longer than the discomfort of trying and failing. Failure stings for a season, but regret can follow you for the rest of your life. The truth is, you can't cheat this reality. You can't avoid making a choice. Every day you decide, either you move closer to your goals or you drift further away from them. There's no standing still because time isn't standing still. Every moment you hesitate is a moment that's shaping the story you'll tell yourself years from now. That story will either be filled with moments you're proud of or moments you wish you could rewrite. But by then, there's no rewriting. The pen is in your hand now, not later. People often believe that the future will magically be different without changing anything in the present. But your future is simply the accumulation of your daily actions. If today you avoid the work, tomorrow you'll live with the results of that avoidance. If today you take action, even in small steps, tomorrow you'll live with the rewards of that decision. Pride doesn't happen by accident. It's built day by day through intentional choices. Regret, on the other hand, is built the exact same way, but through hesitation and inaction. Think about the moments you'll remember at the end of your life. Will you remember the nights you stayed up late scrolling? Or will you remember the times you took a leap of faith? The times you worked through the struggle? The times you bet on yourself? The moments that will bring you pride are the moments when you didn't wait for permission, when you didn't let fear dictate your moves. The moments that will halt you are the ones when you let fear win, when you knew what you should do but chose comfort instead. You're building that future feeling right now. One decision at a time every year is a chapter in your story, and you don't know how many chapters you've got left. That's why you can't afford to live like you've got an endless supply of them. Too many people walk through life as if there's always going to be another year, another chance, another opportunity to finally start living the way they want. But the truth is, 1 year will be your last year, and you won't get a warning. You won't know it's the final chapter until it's already written. That's why you have to treat every single year like it could be the one that decides the direction of the rest of your life. When you live with urgency, you stop taking time for granted. You stop wasting it on meaningless distractions and start pouring it into things that actually matter. You start prioritizing your dreams, your health, your relationships, your purpose, because you realize that you keep pushing them to next year without risking that there may not be a next year. Living urgently doesn't mean rushing through life. It means living intentionally, making sure that every year leaves behind something worth remembering. The danger of not living this way is that years can disappear without you even noticing. You can spend an entire year on autopilot, going to the same job you hate, keeping the same habits that drain you, surrounding yourself with the same negativity. And by the time you look up, another year is gone. Then you convince yourself you'll change starting next year, and the cycle repeats. Before you know it, decades have passed, and you're left with a life that looks nothing like what you wanted because you never treated your time like it was precious. The people who live with urgency understand that today's effort becomes tomorrow's reward. They know that if they give everything they've got this year, the next one will be even better. They don't waste time waiting for the perfect moment. They create moments worth remembering right now. You have that same ability. You can decide that this year will not be another one lost to excuses, fear, or laziness. You can decide that this year you will act like your dreams are on the line, because they are. And if you live every year with that kind of urgency, you'll never have to wonder if you made the most of the time you were given. Stop acting like you have forever. The years you're wasting now are the years you'll beg to have back later. Start today, move with urgency, and make every moment count, because once it's gone for good.